That would be.
I don't even have payoff. I choose not to.
I have 87 chaos, and boy, it's a hey.
Every teacher uses something.
No joke. That's so funny.
Sorry.
Okay, welcome everyone to our meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance with Commissioner Robertson.
If you'll join me please in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Bueller. I'm here. Commissioner Day.
Here.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Here.
Commissioner Rubes.
Here.
Commissioner Robertson.
Here.
Commissioner Speaka. Here. Commissioner Terry.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the minutes approval for May 19th, we all just received them tonight, so are we good to go ahead and look at approvals for our next meeting?
That would be great.
There are no courtesies, no proclamations. We'll move on to board and commission reports. We'll start down with Commissioner Bueller.
Thanks. The library board met Tuesday, May 20th. It was a good meeting, as they usually are. We got to talk with the city manager, and the main point of discussion was the memorandum of understanding. So we've been able to review that. You'll see that in your packets tonight. We're gonna vote on that in a bit. Beyond that, they're prepping and getting ready for the summer reading program, which is going to be very exciting. I forgot the Color Our World is the theme, so it's gonna be very fun, artistic, and wonderful. Yeah, but the main thing that we've been working on and we are happy to present is the memorandum of understanding, and so that was the bulk of the library board meeting.
Do you want to share with everyone or wait about the Scholastic Fair for this week? Or?
Our director's here, and she.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to just put that plug in now?
You should put that plug in now. Yeah.
I'm Melissa Mullins, he's the library director, and just wanted to invite anyone from the commission to stop by this coming week to help us with our free Scholastic Book Fair. Sponsored by the Friends of the Library. It's a huge donation each year that they do. This is the second year we've done it, and if you'd like to stop by and pick up board books that have fallen down or straighten up chapter books, we would absolutely love that. And if you have kids and would like to sign up, please do so. All right, thank you so much for helping me.
Thank you.
Commissioner Speaker?
I'm just trying to get when my next meeting is. There's nothing to report historically, but I think there's one coming up. Let's see. Okay, there's a budget committee that I'm on, but that's not the main thing, so I think I have nothing to report. I'm sorry.
Don't think
Sorry.
I have nothing to.
Awesome. Commissioner Terry?
We have a Section 110 Foundation meeting on June 24th at 2 o'clock. And they just had on May 27th, they had their major grant gifting. So I don't have a report on that because I was in the meeting. But I'm sure that they'll do a press release and send it all out of who got what kind of grant. So but that's always a big fun thing to do because they give out lots of money.
Nothing to report this evening?
I'm not going to be at the airport board meeting, and Tim so kindly said he would give a report for me on the next meeting.
Nothing to add to the snow.
Which is very, very
When is
exciting.
the next?
Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
And the park Park and Rec Board will meet this Wednesday at 7 PM at the Civic Center. Most all of the things that happened exciting in May has been addressed in the city manager report. We'll hear a little bit more tonight about what's happening with that department. Okay, we will now move on to the city manager report.
Yes, just a little update on the wastewater DEQ compliance. So this is primarily focused on the storm water permit and compliance with that. So that's the biosolids. Robert Pesha and Associates, we often refer to them as RPA. So has completed the survey work of the facilities, the biosolids fields earlier this spring. They've also been at the facility and are currently drafting a report to figure out how to treat and what options we have for treating our biosolids. This report, I have seen a copy of it, will be presented to you guys later this month as kind of our target there. And they will also be formulating a DEQ letter, just kind of summarizing where we're at in our progress to get back in compliance on our stormwater permit. This letter has to be done by the end of the month, and I'll provide it to you guys as well as other interested parties as soon as that's done. The pool is opening this weekend, June 7th. The staff is busy getting trained and everything ready for opening day. The public can still buy swim passes and sign up for lessons during regular pool hours down at the pool. And so we've been getting a lot of questions like that. We did our big, huge sign up last week, and so that's always a huge event, and the public loves to get their kids registered. We do have several positions open, including the trails coordinator, a street worker, communication officer, who's a dispatcher, and the public works director. And we're also in the hiring process for a couple of potential new police officers. And so that's a lengthy process, but we are moving on, getting some positions filled or advertised. As Alyssa and Lorraine touched on, the summer reading program starts. It's traditionally had a huge number of participants, both children and adults in our area. Alyssa's been busy lining things up, and check out the library's website for more information on that. So, the Park and Recreation Board is planning their Eastport cleanup. We don't have a date yet, but traditionally they clean up the campground, trim, do other maintenance type activities, kind of replacing or repairing things around there. We are always willing to have more volunteers, so I said that I would let you guys know when that is set. And then last but certainly not least, there is a state DOT is conducting a Central Montana transportation plan, really looking at what needs can be anticipated with the missiles and just growth that we've seen kind of coming out of COVID. And so both Commissioner Robertson and myself are part of that working group. And the Central Montana area includes Great Falls all the way up into the Conrad area, so really the missile area. But we do have a good group that's working on our Lewistown area. We've been very lucky. They were very responsive and liked the work we did on our growth policy. And so they have jumped on different solutions and really identifying what roadways need upgraded, both from a use level, existing roadways, looking at what kind of connections could be made in the future or maybe need to be made. But they've also been helping us look at how to improve traffic flow around Lewis and Clark and the high school. And so they did at our last meeting, which was last week, do some possible alternatives. And so that's something that we can share with the group kind of as they come out and are developed more. So, and we'll also share them with the other parties that are interested, such as the school. Perfect. Good opportunity.
If I may just expound on that last point, they had some great ideas that I don't think any of us had really come up with, but they had put some real serious engineering ideas and thought into how to fix some of the traffic patterns around Lewistown. So it was a great response. I was shocked at how great it was. Please.
So did we lose our trails coordinator?
So our trails coordinator actually jumped over and he is now a water worker. So we didn't lose him, he just, he's been
Transferred.
reassigned.
Okay. What's a communication officer? Is that? What is that?
Fancy name.
Any other questions for city manager regarding her report? Okay, alrighty, we will move on to public comment on non-agenda items. So, is there any comments on non-agenda items? Alrighty, okay, consent agenda. What questions do we have for our city manager regarding the consent agenda?
Page 3, 57090. That is just the water project, not the wastewater project, correct?
Purchase of water meters.
That's water meters?
Yeah, that's water meters and MXUs. Well, where
The Ferguson Waterworks, is that what you're looking at? Yeah, MXUs are a part of a water meter.
MXUs are a piece of a water meter?
Yes, the part that, the radio that sends out the signal to
Okay.
read water meters. Yeah.
Is that a lot, or is that what one MXU costs?
So that's like probably 40. I think they're about, yeah, Ernie has left, but I think they're about $200.
Okay. So there's quite a few of them.
yes, lots, and we still have about 200 that are still on walking routes that we're trying to move to radio.
Any other questions regarding the consent agenda?
I just,
On the front page for blow door, the snack shack doors, what? Typically, don't we just pay a contractor and they get all the building supplies?
So we are basically the prime, or the volunteers that are comprised of the hockey association, the pool, the swim team, things like that, are the prime contractors. And so, we have a materials list, and then we're paying for it and being reimbursed by the rec district.
Okay.
And there's no department because?
It's going to the general fund, which is where the pool is.
And we're keeping the name Snack Shack?
We'll see.
We
that's
have
what,
to?
that was what was put on the claim.
Right, so who is the actual, who's putting it together, who's building it?
Right now, it's a group of volunteers.
All
We're
the
parking
hockey,
lot,
all the hockey
yeah.
folks.
Okay,
It's been kind of the project manager.
gotcha. Well,
Very exciting. And I'm sure that they would take additional volunteers if anybody would like to come to.
We'll have opportunities to paint and drywall. Again, I chose the last color for the snack shack on the inside, so if you'd like some design ideas, bold colors, so
Commissioner
important.
Terry?
So on the CenturyLink, so do we have a Mid-Rivers, do we look at Mid-Rivers at all, or is it all CenturyLink?
Could you tell me where you're
Oh, I'm
looking
sorry,
first, please?
page 2, 57078.
Okay, so CenturyLink is,
The whole phone system?
yes. This is actually the maintenance contract.
Well, they're full.
That one's a maintenance contract, the one above is just for, dispatch.
But we do have, Mid-Rivers accounts as well.
So the first one, the 1652 is monthly usage, and then the rest is the CenturyLink, maintenance contract you approved last meeting.
Right, and that's all in dispatch, that's that whole.
No, just the CenturyLink for $1,652 is strictly dispatch, and then the rest is divided out for everybody that has, the phone system. So a portion of it from my office, building, public. And yes, we do have Mid-Rivers too.
They just do the system part of it.
Correct.
And then I'm sure this is more parts, but on page 4, 57095, the Hawkins Inc. Aqua Hawk, that must be more parts.
That's polymer for the wastewater plant.
Polymer.
Fix the things. I know all the words now.
I move that we acknowledge the claims that have been paid from May 16th to May 31st.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Terry and a second from Commissioner Brewer, and we can do it all in favor. Please raise your right hand.
Oh.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, moving on to our regular agenda. Item number 1 is discussion and action on entering into a memorandum of understanding between the City of Lewistown and the Lewistown Public Library. City Manager Holly Bell.
So in front of you, included in your packets was the final draft of our MOU with the library. It may look fairly familiar. There hasn't been a huge amount of changes, but we'll kind of touch on a few of those. Alyssa, feel free to stop me if I miss any of the large changes. But really, we just focused on kind of better communication and building up a good relationship. We kept most of it the same. The city will pay all of the personnel costs for the 5.5 employees again. But we did allow an opportunity for additional staffing, and you'll see that on page 5. It's 5D, 2D, where there's an opportunity that the library could seek additional employees and then find funding to cover that. We also, through our negotiations, will be kind of breaking out the funding. So the regular FTEs, the permanent employees, will be moving to the general fund to better account for their hours. And then any additional staff would be able to stay in the library fund. We did expound on just a few things in this area, volunteers and covering volunteers. The building committee and that representative that can come from the city. The depreciation stayed. And then we did, like I said, focus on communication and working together. And so you'll see that we have asked that we do an annual meeting. Again, we're proposing a 3-year contract with this. Fairly simple to open it up. If things don't work, we can notice it up and work to get those addressed as well. So. Alyssa, anything else?
No, we're really excited to move forward with this and really appreciate everyone's time working on this. I realize I should have stood up there and do that now. But no, this was the library board, Danny and Mariah and the city, a lot of people working together very well. So we really appreciate that and appreciate the relationship we have with the city. Thank you.
Commissioner Roots has a question.
I was just wondering if, you mentioned insurance, does our insurance cover for volunteers?
Yes. So there is a simple form that they fill out, and we do cover work comp on our volunteers.
On the additional staffing, if they, like, I'm assuming that this might be maybe summer help or something, what about the benefits for those positions?
So depending on what they're working, if it's simply a seasonal staff, that typically does not get benefits. But if it became something more permanent, things like that, they'd follow our policies, so they would have the option to do health insurance.
But the library would be
The library would, library board would find funding for that, but the city insurance could be available to that person.
That was the answer to the question I was trying to ask.
Sorry, I'm here for it.
Commissioner Robertson?
I like all the things you've done. I have one question on one you didn't necessarily address, 5E1 library building. So the building is the property of the city
Yes. For a library.
for the library. And when I look at the last sentence, I struggle with one thing. It says the library board agrees to confer with the city manager with any major changes or building fixes. It doesn't say obtain permission from, it doesn't say agree on a change, it says confer with. We have a great relationship, but if there was ever not a great relationship and the library decided it wanted to blow out a wall, there's nothing in here that prohibits that alteration of the city property, and I just wondered if, rather than saying confer with, it could just be obtain permission from the city manager? I don't know if that's too heavy-handed, but it would seem prudent to make sure that something didn't change that we couldn't afford.
Yeah.
Or couldn't be changed,
I
or,
wonder if in 5E, 2E, if that addresses your question, because the library does have a building committee where changes would be discussed, and we would like to have the city at the table for that.
but if the city's paying for this,
doesn't
That's
always
not
happen.
necessarily the case.
Yeah, that doesn't always
But-
The city pays for personnel. The operation and maintenance of the building is primarily funded through other funding avenues. And the depreciation
Okay.
account.
so if somebody decided to tear out walls and change some bathroom, build a new bathroom, or, I don't know what it is, it could be for the best reasons in the world. What about that?
And so, I mean, the state law does allow this weird autonomy too. And so that's where we're trying to navigate that.
So with everything with MMIA and all that, and how this is run and with the autonomy, they still have to follow our purchasing policy. And we'd have to have everything cleared for it to even be covered by the insurance.
So it has to be
So I
budgeted.
can see that we should probably, I would go along with that, and I would just say, could you change the library board agrees to get approval or agree with the city manager?
Or both parties
Something,
must
something simple that's not onerous, that doesn't stop the library from doing what it wants to do, but doesn't obligate the city to do, I mean, it would just seem like a,
Some clarification.
yeah, it's just very vague, and it doesn't seem to be in line with the fact that it's a city building.
Could I chime in here?
Mhm.
So actually, this is an issue that's come up for libraries across the entire state. And there's existing attorney general opinions about this. So here was the deal in Great Falls a while back. Great Falls Public Library, City Library. The city wanted to modify part of the library's property over a parking lot situation. The library board said no. Like, we want to keep our parking lot, and under state law, we're entitled to do this. The way the state law is worded is that the library board holds property in the name of the city. So what the attorney general ultimately decided there, and I can forward you that opinion, is that the library board, under Montana Code annotated, has the authority over, exclusive authority over library property, which might not resolve your concern, but is where that wording is coming from through that MIA, as Holly said. It's part of the independence granted to library boards statewide.
I wonder if this could be fixed, not so much by saying like the city manager needs to provide permission or approval, but something more where you're combining 5E1 and 5E2. So because I do like the word confer, but the library board agrees to confer, with the library building committee if it has I don't know if the city manager should be and this is just like, I'm just wondering if maybe like commission or the building committee, like, I don't know if it's the city manager that they need to get approval from.
So,
Can we just change the city?
Yeah,
manager?
Well, and I mean,
I'm
they
just wondering
have
if maybe
to follow
city
the
commission-
purchasing
Yeah.
policy,
Yeah.
so if
So-
it's above $15,000, it's coming to you guys. I mean, there is these overreaching policies.
So, I
I'm just wondering if it
understand what
needs
you're
to be
saying, let's just
reworded.
turn that situation on its head, and let's just imagine that the library decides it can't afford, this is an extreme, it can't afford to heat and care for the top floor of the current building, and it decides to tear it down. Just imagine, there you go, but let's just imagine that there's some draconian group takes over the library, and it decides to tear down the top floor of the library. This would not prohibit the city, which owns the building, from saying, no, you can't do that.
But I don't know if it doesn't say it here, but there's policies in place, it just doesn't say it here, like in this memorandum of understanding.
Why wouldn't you?
But it says it in like all of the law and the policy, that there's just no way that
If the Montana code, or either Montana code annotated or judicial law, or all of that, says that the library board has jurisdiction over the city,
over the building.
over the building. Let's take the top floor off. The city's gonna sit here and go, it's our building, but I guess you're gonna do what you wanna do. I'm just saying, some balanced approach of, hey, this is community city property, let's be respectful of the fact, I'm not trying to take anything away from the library, nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, let's work together on a change.
And you don't think
Confer is a
confer
phone call, by the way, we're gonna take the top off the city library. Click, that's confer.
So could it be something like mutual agreement?
I just,
And the city commission maybe instead of the city manager.
yeah, I just
think you
see it as
I mean,
a gray area that
It's
could,
mutually agreed upon, something like that, between the city and the library board.
I'm just trying to find a way to protect this asset. I look at it as an asset. If,
I don't like the term building fixes anyway.
Or confer.
Building fixes is an odd.
Could I suggest something? If we want to, we could develop that out as a procedure that would be separate from the MOU if we wanted to move this forward tonight. I don't know, Danny would have a better sense for how that would play into things, but, that would be a great operating procedure to have on hand for building changes. We're going through things with the building committee right now.
Anyway,
And that could be an internal document that is negotiated between both parties and comes before the commission separately as part of our procedures. Would that alleviate some of those concerns? Because I get what you're saying. I mean, right now, if I decide to paint the top of the building
Pink,
a marvelous lime green, I don't,
but it has been pink.
maybe that's a better example. Is the library board decides, we want bright pink on the whole top of the building. And, I mean, the things
I
are,
will say
less
that
crazy
that
things
has
happen.
happened, that was the case.
I've been there and done that, but, it would be wonderful moving into this building project to work on, that agreement for maintenance of this.
So the question becomes, do we want this in the MOU, or do we want an additional document that speaks to the procedure of any major building modifications?
I prefer it in a procedure, so we can move forward with budgeting and everything right now.
I think that's
well, then you would
well, when
strike
it
this
is
sentence. Then you would strike the sentence.
yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Or put something in here that says,
Look at 5C, so execution of contracts and agreements.
So they're only gonna confer with the city with major, changes. What determines major?
That's, I feel like the whole sentence is just kind of like.
it just seemed vague, and it seemed, I don't worry about the current leadership and organization or anything, but we're seeing changes made nationwide that are not in the best interest of communities, in my opinion. And I don't want to see it happen here accidentally because we have a vague phrase.
And just to chime in, like Holly said, I think that language came straight from the MLIA. The last time we negotiated this document, the state library and the current insurance authority worked together to put together an agreement they felt they could insure us under. So it's it's not our language per se. And, there's not a deep reasoning locally for why it is the way it is, but I absolutely understand your point of view.
5C is a nice.
And it's, I mean, 5B talks about the communication between the library board and the city and how, I mean, basically all policy modifications and changes, and providing written documentation, are kind of shared between each other and stuff like that. So that, again, there's a lot of good working relationship, communication that was built into this too. So that's why I think for ease of approval, we could strike that sentence and not ruin the integrity of the agreement at all.
I move that we, enter into the memorandum of understanding between the city of Lewistown and the Lewistown Library Board of Trustees and strike the sentence, approving this document, but striking the last sentence in 5E1 library building.
Second, yeah.
Awesome, so we have a motion from Commissioner Terry and a second from Commissioner Hewitt. Any other questions from the commission?
So will we be replacing that sentence with something?
I think they're gonna move, I mean, I don't think I need to move on that, but I think that the plan is to go off those other
No, we're just gonna,
operations and then
we can build that into a policy on the building committee and stuff like that, procedure.
would you like me to read the motion, Ron?
Sure.
Okay. The motion is to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the city of Lewistown and the Lewistown Public Library and striking the last sentence in 5E1, titled Library Building. So we're just striking it and that's it. Okay.
Is this contingent on the approval of a procedure?
that has to happen. That's one of those communications between the library board and the city of Lewistown.
Any other questions from the commission or any comments from the public?
Just thank you again so much for everyone's hard work on this. I really appreciate it. And I know, we all really appreciate that.
Yeah, I would like to add that this agreement is a really clear and definitive way that the library staff are fully funded and that the operation is autonomous and managed by the board. And so I know that this document is hefty, lots of laws, lots of topics are discussed in here. But the work that the library board does and that the city commission does to work together and iron these out through this document is invaluable. And it is unique across the state. So the things that we're doing are very important and appreciated by the library and the community.
Thank you.
Whose idea was 6B? I like that one.
Everybody.
I think that's a great
Annual
idea,
meeting.
and that kind of
Yes.
addresses
That's a
the,
great idea from the city, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that kind of addresses, if we can just get the communication flowing, then.
And just scheduling it and making it a priority.
And that makes sure that, again, these relationships do continue without giant outliers.
Okay, thank you very much. We are going to do a roll call vote for this particular motion.
Would you like me to read the motion again?
Yes, please.
Okay. The motion is we're approving entering into the memorandum of understanding between the city of Lewistown and the Lewistown Public Library. We are striking the last sentence in 5.E.1 titled Library Building. Everybody understand the motion? Commissioner Bueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Commissioner Rubes,
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson,
Aye.
Commissioner Speaka,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, we are going to conduct a public hearing to hear comments on the conditional use permit application from Clarissa Woods to operate a daycare in the central business district. So it is now open. Manager, Holly?
Yep. So we received an application from a local daycare business in the community that they were interested in expanding their care for infants at a new location. This location is across from the post office, where the cartridge depot, or more recently, an insurance agency was located. This would be for infants between the ages of 6 weeks and 2 years old, providing care for approximately 10. And so we did conduct a previous public hearing last week at the zoning commission. We did not receive any comments on this. There was about 40 letters sent out to adjacent properties. You can see the staff report was also included, and the recommendations that were recommended by your zoning commission are as follows: that all state laws requirements for infant child care must be met, that the building is inspected for safety and fire code reasons by the fire marshal and building inspector. That's also a condition of the state of Montana. And that parking requirements in front of the building be followed. So there is 5-minute parking in front of the post office, so just recognizing that and educating them on that. And then a plan for staff parking outside of the 2-hour parking limits in the downtown is highly recommended. And so that would be communicated with the owner as well.
So is this the same facility that was located on Juno?
No, it is not. Her current business is located at 5th and Boulevard.
5th and Boulevard.
How many kids does she have in there?
In her existing one, I'm not.
But I mean, like, how many does this allow for?
This is designed to allow for 10 children.
They don't have a play area.
They do, but if this is a very young age.
Right, well, yeah, but I mean,
And city codes don't have requirements on that. That's a state law.
and then was the post office notified as well? Okay, any other questions for city manager? Any comments from the public? We can close the public hearing. We now move on to discussion and action on approving a conditional use permit from Clarissa Woods to operate a daycare in the central business district.
Really nothing additional to add. Again, this was approved by the zoning commission with the recommendations that I previously discussed.
So the street in front of the post office is 5 minutes, but in front of this particular location, it's 2 hours?
Correct.
And they have an alley as well, it said that
And
they
there's
could use
parking in
for.
back.
Yes,
drive-on.
they have some on street.
Is there anything to the slope of that street into that, like, parking? Always feels like I fall after. But not a problem.
Like cobblestone and, some of the old streets, so those elevations are weird.
I move the city commission approve a conditional use permit from Clarissa Woods to operate a daycare in the central business district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Rubes and a second from Commissioner Mueller. Awesome. Okay, any other questions from the commission regarding this conditional use permit?
Did she happen to, is it gonna be the same amount of children?
These would be 10 infants, and so I don't know what her current threshold of infants is at her existing facility. So I think it would be an increase to the number or new age range that she's currently not
Okay.
providing care for.
So she is keeping the existing
Correct.
and new staff for this particular location, because there's such a need in our community for it.
Because I noticed from the Methodist church there, a lot of those kids go right over to Hawthorne Park a lot, and, it would be just as easy for this, facility to use that also in the summer. So I think it is a good location, as far as that is concerned.
She does a great job
As long as the kids don't play in the street, that's a lot of
taking care of children.
Okay, any other comments from the commission or the public? Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
Okay, we are approving a conditional use permit from Clarissa Woods to operate a daycare in the Central Business District. Commissioner Bueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rubes,
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson,
Aye.
Commissioner Speaka,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry.
Aye.
Awesome. Moving on to a public hearing to hear comments on a request to subdivide lot 3 of the amended plat of lot 3 of the K&T Properties subdivision number 2 into 2 lots. So we'll open that public hearing and turn the time over to city manager.
Yes, so at the back of the staff report is a little map, showing what they're doing. The lot that is basically in line with the Town and Country grocery store itself, not the parking area, but the grocery store itself, is the lot we're talking about. The developer is proposing, dividing the lot almost in half, to allow for the construction of a new VA clinic. So this is
Of the new what?
VA Veterans Clinic. And so we received the application, they have adequately addressed all of that. Again, this is a property that was subdivided in 2019, was already zoned and annexed at that time, so it's already commercial use. The full build out was planned for, as far as the traffic, as far as the storm drainage, things like that. And so, made the review much more simple. You'll see that there was a couple things pointed out as far as impacts. As part of that initial review, the impermeable surfaces were presumed to be 70%, and that comes out of our zoning code with what has to, remain not covered. And so, that would be a requirement that they, when they get all of their calculations for their actual site done, that they make sure that they aren't exceeding that 70% lot coverage. Otherwise, they'll have to work with us for some on-site, storm retention. Yep. The area is currently covered by, city services, garbage services, has, water and sewer. They have submitted or will be submitting municipal facilities exclusion, which just says that they're connecting to city water and sewer. And so that has to get approved by DEQ, and that has not been submitted, but that is the other condition that was approved by the city county planning board last week. And then last but not least is just compliance with the state law regarding what's required in their plats and formats and stuff. So there is many things that were presented in this preliminary plat that need to make sure that they comply.
It's probably not gonna take much to comply
Not at all. And they know that.
with how it's set up, with that. They even have the sidewalks there and everything.
Exactly.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll close the public hearing. And then I'll move on to the next agenda item, which is actually the discussion and action on approving the request to subdivide lot 3 of the amended plat of lot 3 of the K&T Properties, subdivision number 2 into 2 lots.
Yep, again, those couple of conditions were what the city county planning board approved. It was always anticipated to be a commercial development, whether you do it as 2 lots or 1 lot, the effect of, on the environment, the transportation, the utilities, things like that are pretty minimal.
Chairman, I would request, to approve this I would make a motion to approve the request to subdivide lot 3 of the amended plat of lot 3 of the K&T property subdivision number 2 into 2 lots.
And what? With the following conditions.
Oh, that were the staff.
Yeah, I need to have those in the motion, sorry.
Where are they then?
The back,
Last page.
With condition number 1 and condition number 2 as
Thank you.
stated in the staff report.
Thank you.
Second.
Awesome, we have a motion on the table from Commissioner Robertson and a second from Commissioner Rose. Is there any other discussion from the commission?
I know nothing about construction. Why would you want to subdivide that? You just need a smaller piece of land?
You don't need all of it, and the subdivision cost, all of the improvement cost, is divided by basically square foot. So
Okay.
if you're the user of that, you don't want to carry the square foot of a big field next to you. You
Okay.
want to sell that to somebody else. So
Perfect.
Is the actual building of the clinic just this way? It's not part of the subdivision, but is that, is the government doing that?
it's a private company that will be doing it.
it's a leased property.
Yeah, but the VA, like running the VA clinic, is that a government project?
They have to get all their approvals by the VA, but it is, Dick Anderson Construction that has gotten the award to build this building.
But who's building it? Not physically, but like,
A private entity builds and owns the building.
and
The
then,
government rents it.
Leases
and
it.
the, oh, okay.
It's like the BLM building, right?
Oh,
Correct.
okay, that makes way more sense. I was like, why on earth would the government do this?
No, private entity.
Because I was like, there's no way. That makes way more sense. Good for them though, getting a VA clinic. It's awesome.
It looks to be a nice facility. So,
And so we're safe to, they're gonna build the VA, Veterans Administration, service building for veterans on one of those lots?
yes, the one
Yeah.
closest to 8th Street is what
I'm
they're-
sorry, what?
The one closest to 8th Street.
Okay. And so, but the other lot then will be open for sale to, but they'll have to follow the same guidelines,
It
I'm
probably
assuming?
wouldn't have, I mean, unless they wanna split it up again, they wouldn't necessarily have to subdivide it, they
No,
just have to
no,
go
no.
through the building process.
And it's in city limits, so they gotta meet all the codes, so, we're good, all right.
It's all commercial.
It's all commercial.
Okay, any other questions from the commission or the public? Okay, let's do a roll call.
We are approving a request to subdivide lot 3 of the amended plat of lot 3 of the K&T property subdivision number 2 into 2 lots. With, approving the following conditions of condition number 1 and condition number 2. Commissioner Bueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt, Commissioner Rubes,
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson,
All right?
Commissioner Speaka,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry.
Aye.
Awesome. This is actually item number 6.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
We didn't read
All
correctly.
right, no worries. Discussion and action on resolution number 4192, a resolution approving an application from the Lewistown Insurance for TIF funds made to the Lewistown Tax Increment Financing District Board. City Manager Holly Phelps.
Yes, so included in your packet was the application and resolution approving, grant funds for Lewistown Insurance. You may have noticed they're currently doing an addition to their building to increase, the number of employees they have at their facility, but provide 3 additional offices. A large project, costly project, the TIF funds would be primarily used for landscaping, facade work that really benefits the entire area. And so, the TIF board did recommend approving the $20,000 grant for this project. I don't know if Commissioner Robertson has anything else to add there?
No, great addition to downtown, it's exactly what TIF funds are for, yeah, perfect.
Beautification.
In fact, I would just as an aside say, Mr. Solberg is now a member of the TIF board, has been our chair, who's stepping back, and then obviously he's gonna step back, but, I think I think any other citizen that was doing something like this downtown would probably have come with a much bigger request outside of our normal $20,000, given the scope of this project. And I think the board would have looked at it. Pardon?
Over $250,000.
Yeah, and I think the board would have looked at it favorably had it been bigger, but he was gracious to not come any bigger, for fear of conflict of interest, I'm guessing. I haven't talked to him about it. Good project for the TIF.
I move to approve the application from Lewistown Insurance for TIF funds made to Lewistown Tax Increment Financing District.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Terry, a second from Commissioner Bueller. Any other comments from the commission or the public? Let's do a roll call vote.
We're gonna approve resolution number 4192. Commissioner Bueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rubes,
Aye.
Commissioner Robertson,
Aye.
Commissioner Speaka,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry.
Aye.
Awesome. Our next item is discussion and action on approving and authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with RPA for engineering services related to task order number 6, water system improvement, 2023 phase 2. City manager Holmes.
So included in this task order is the design phase of our current water project and a couple of odd ones that were also included in that, and so that included the painting of the water tank and also the bidding process for the ditch lining, as well as the work we're currently working on, which is replacing some water lines in the area of Erie Street and 7th Avenue, and then work that's still to come on Brassey and 2nd Avenue South. And so this is all eligible to be reimbursed through grants that we've previously gotten, and so much of this will be reimbursed.
Just to confirm, this is the water project, not the wastewater project.
And this is the project that we got ARPA funding for.
We're utilizing ARPA funds, and we also have a DNRC grant.
I'm feeling really lost on this one for one. The dates in this thing are all past, antiquated. So is this just an old proposal that we're gonna finally approve, or how? I'm confused, I'm sorry. I think I listened.
Much of this work has already been complete. Some is in the works, but a lot of it's looped together. It just needs to be completed for reimbursement purposes.
Okay, so I should ignore Article 2 schedule that says it will be completed by January 1 of 2024. That's inappropriate, doesn't, but it's the same work, it's in it.
Correct. Some of it was, but not.
I'm just,
in it.
sorry, I'm just making sure I
And
understand.
that doesn't
I'm not
affect
trying
how
to-
the funds are received or anything, no.
Yeah, that was not an attempt to throw shade at you, just, I was clarifying, making sure I understood what was here.
Is there a motion? Or any other questions for our city
I
manager?
move to approve, move to approve and authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with RPA for engineering services related to task order number 6. Water system improvements 2023 phase 2.
So is there, I'm sorry.
Second.
We have a second now.
Discussion?
Awesome. We have a motion from Commissioner Robertson and a second from Commissioner Speaka. Is there like a phase 3, 4? This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Then we're gonna redate it. It makes more sense.
And it gets redated.
I was gonna say there's lots of dates, 2020, 23,
So is this still part of the, department of DEQ, as far as,
Nope,
this is,
All water.
this is additional stuff that we're utilizing our ARPA funds for.
Get water.
Yes,
This
for the
is
water system.
clean, not dirty water.
Any other questions from the commission regarding the task order? Or any other questions or comments from the public? Okay, let's do a roll call
Okay, we are approving, approving and authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with RPA for engineering services related to task order number 6. Commissioner Bueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
vote. Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt, Commissioner Rubes,
aye,
Commissioner Robertson,
Aye.
Commissioner Speaka,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry.
Aye.
Thank you. Also, discussion and action on the purchase of a RAS pump for the wastewater treatment plant. City Manager Holly Phelps.
Yes, so this is the purchase of a RAS pump, for the wastewater plant. This is not part of the DEQ stuff, this is usual maintenance. But due to the price, it has to come back before the commission. It is proprietary, so we are stuck with a like, replacement. And you can see that, we're looking at a 12 to 14 week, ship time. So, we will make sure that we include this in the new budget.
One question, is this the thing that was making loud noises when we were out there? Oh. Might be
Because we need a
another
new one of those, is that what
thing. I
you're
was
saying?
gonna say, there's another thing making loud noises.
I called it an RAS, but it's called a RAS.
It's
Ravs.
RAS,
It's an acronym, imagine that.
okay.
What does it attach to? Which part of the wastewater treatment plant is
So it's recycled activated sludge is what RAS
this?
stands for.
Sludge.
And so it circulates the really thick brown stuff throughout the plant.
Okay. I was gonna say, is it like
Throughout the plant.
beginning, middle, and
The whole way
The
through.
dry?
flow of sludge.
That,
Okay.
drives a lot of the treatment in the facility.
Costly part.
So, yeah, so we need a new
Everything
one.
varies.
So this will be budgeted for in the next budget cycle? Yes. Okay.
Do we stock spares of things like this?
So there are 3
Oh,
down
okay,
there. So
okay.
it's in redundancy. Again, we often will rotate them. We don't replace them. This is a 20-year-old pump. But we will send them off to, get rebuilt. Both the electrical and pump components are rebuilt. This is just
Got it.
outside of its usable life. So, this is a replacement.
I move we approve the purchase of a RAS pump for the wastewater treatment plant.
second,
Okay, we have a motion on the table from Commissioner Bueller and a second from Commissioner Rubes. Any other questions regarding the RAS pump from the commission or the public?
Public.
Okay, let's do a roll call.
Okay, we're approving the purchase of a RAS pump. Commissioner Bueller,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Hewitt, Commissioner Rubes,
aye,
Commissioner Robertson,
Aye.
Commissioner Speaka,
Aye.
Commissioner Terry.
Aye. I like how we're in the know with the lingo.
One of
RAS
these days,
pump.
we're gonna quiz you guys, though.
And I'm gonna know the S in RAS is sludge. RA, no idea.
Costly part that we know.
Yeah, let's get that thing ordered.
Our next item and last item is election of a vice chairman for the remainder of 2025. And is that something that Nikki takes care of?
No,
or
you
do
get
I
to.
get to do it? All right, so we are now opening for nominations for vice chairman for the remainder of 2025. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Ms. Speaker.
Okay, we have a nomination for Ms. Speaka. Is
I
that
was gonna nominate Ms. Bueller.
and a nomination for Ms. Bueller.
I second both nominations.
Do we need to see if Ms. Bueller and Ms., or
Any more?
Commissioner Bueller and Commissioner Speaker are agreeing to this? Are they accepting?
We need to make sure there's no more nominations on the
Okay.
floor.
That's
Are there
true.
any other
That is
nominations on the table?
Are you sure?
I don't wanna overburden Commissioner Robertson, so we're gonna.
Yeah, he's gotta get all
There you
that.
go. Who's got all that?
Paying you later.
All that snow removal.
Are you interested in? No.
Unless you know a great divorce attorney.
Right.
Oh boy, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, so,
I would suggest that with me not gonna be here next year and Ms. Bueller going to be, she'd be very good, well positioned to step into that role. So that would be fine.
thank you. Okay, so we have a nomination on the table for Commissioner Bueller. I don't know why I'm calling you Miss.
Miss
For
Bueller.
Commissioner Bueller to be vice chair for the remainder of 2025. And can we do a roll call vote for that, or can,
Yeah,
I mean, she's the only one on
I
the table.
move we elect Commissioner Bueller to that position by unanimous proclamation.
that's fine too.
Second.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
That is heavy-handed.
We'll just say all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, so it's official, Commissioner Bueller is now our vice chair.
Spectacular. You're not feeling like you're gonna miss a lot, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, I've been like absent from a lot lately, so we'll see what happens. But
Okay.
awesome, thank you for serving, thank you for
Thank
supporting
you.
that.
Thank you, commissioners, for giving me this opportunity to grow in my skills and my knowledge
By unanimous proclamation.
by unanimous proclamation.
Do we have any citizens' requests? Nope, okay. All right, we're gonna move on to commissioners' minutes, and we're gonna start with Commissioner Robertson on the other side.
On a serious note, I would ask that you all think seriously about this snow removal issue, and if we're gonna move very quickly from an ordinance standpoint, and therefore the whole process would move very quickly. And I would love more input from you. If you have thoughts on it, please study it a little bit and question things and think about your ask a few constituents what they think about this, especially if you're in a ward that has odd, even streets. Maybe go door to door with a few friends and people you know. So we could really use that. On a lighter note, in my 45, 50-year history of work, I have never had the honor of voting on buying a RAS pump, and so that's a new high. Thank you.
And with the right lingo.
And did we have a choice?
No, get it, because that's a product specific.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Commissioner Hewitt, oh,
Sorry, with that, could you email us the existing ordinance so that we all have visibility on what is current?
And it'll have the list of existing streets.
Yep.
And then as we develop it, you'll see that we'll decrease the number of snow routes.
and you'll be sending a new meeting time date out soon, or?
Yes.
Yeah, Tyler's out of town, and so we'll get a draft, that way you guys will have time to do it. We're not gonna push
Probably
first
the week
reading.
after next. Another meeting.
And so we'll get it out as soon as we get a copy of the proposed. We'll have time to discuss it at the commission meeting though, too, the second meeting in June.
Thank you, Commissioner Hewitt.
I just want to thank everybody for the hard work that they've done for the commission, the snow removal and the parking
Library.
and library, yes, that too.
Commissioner Roots?
The only thing I have to, for my minute, apologize to Commissioner Robertson for spacing off the meeting on Thursday at 10 o'clock. I even, I had all the ducks in a row and got busy. But
No criticism on my part for.
I know that, I know that.
Please don't misunderstand.
I'm gonna make that next meeting.
But if they call me to complain, I'm gonna send them to you.
I can handle it. Thank you.
Commissioner Terry?
I don't have a minute. It's nice to see like all the kind of development and all the things that are happening right now. And I did drive by the duplexes that are over there and they look so nice. That really adds to that area. Well,
Right
Yeah,
down the
this
street
one.
here, Third Avenue.
Check it
South.
out.
so yeah, when
Right
you
over
go
there.
home, go by
Right.
Third Avenue.
Where are we? Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, they just look really nice and they kind of spruce up that whole street, so, it's nice to see this development all happening and stuff. So I'm sure it'll be a great VA clinic. That's all my own.
Commissioner Speaker?
Nothing today?
Commissioner Bueller?
I have 2 minutes. Did the city reach out to the Defense Department about the missile in the park? Is that why we got that email today?
Oh, yeah.
I got no email, so.
No.
You know, I don't think you did because it was just to the commissioners.
It's like, if you want to spruce up the missile, you get to spend money on it. But I'll send it to you. An interesting email.
I was gonna ask on that one too, because, I don't think we're the party that, what was the group that,
The Historic Resource Commission did it last time.
yeah. And then it's
One
on the
partnered with
national,
the Legion.
and it's on the National Registry of Historic Places. So, I'm not I don't think that email needed to come to the commission, I just don't think she knew who to reach out to.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think you were on the list, I think it was just
So
commissioners.
should that be forwarded to the historic commission again, or no?
If Danny forwarded it to me, I can bring it up.
Yeah.
We have a meeting in the morning.
Thursday?
Oh, well, perfect timing. Anyway, it was,
It's an
One of the-
interesting email.
I can't remember where she's from, but she's some brigadier general. And she said.
She is from Mount
Maelstrom.
Mhm.
And she said she was willing to help with the repair, so I don't know who reached out to her.
If you're interested in partnering on this endeavor.
It's in pretty rough shape, so I know that
That
there was a group looking at what could be done.
So
But
somebody must have reached out to them and then,
And that's something that, so,
Is that the
It's in the
actual,
park.
it's in city property, but is the actual missile city property?
no.
I don't think so.
I don't know who it belongs.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Somebody dropped it off.
Because there was some just random history, but when, that was the first year that I was on that board, and it was put on the National Registry of Historic Places, and it was very controversial. Because some people felt like it, yes, there was the history of it, but then some people felt it's a missile. And I don't know,
It's a
we
thing.
need to do any sort of registry on it.
Everybody counts.
And then what was your number 2, Commissioner?
And then my number 2 minute is to thank the Parks and Rec Department. My family is a family that utilizes all aspects of every Parks and Rec thing we have in the city. And this spring and this past winter, it's been very nice to use good facilities that are well maintained, that are cared for, and that offer a very active and fun environment for people growing up in this town. So I've been spending a lot of time at them, and they're great.
And then I just wanted to make a comment. I don't know if the library really like tooted that horn on what is happening this week, but there's literally like, the last year, the Friends of the Library, if I'm correct, donated $3,000 to hold this scholastic book fair for all the kids in our community, like from ages 0 to high school, all the way through high school. And this year, they donated $6,000. So every child or kid or youth or teen in our community can go to the library and they'll be given a backpack and they can choose 3 free books. So you can go, like, just go drop in, all you have to do is go upstairs, and I just felt like that was really a cool, it was a really neat thing to be able to help put all those books out and see that this is all free for our community. And what
Who
it just-
donated that?
The Friends of the Library donated the funds, and then the library actually ordered books from the Scholastic. So kids can start off their whole summer with free books, which I
In a backpack.
yeah, and a little tote bag that they get, yeah, which is really a cool thing. No questions asked, they just go in, they put their name on a thing, and they get three.
Their books
They
up.
can pick and choose, shop from that whole area upstairs, so lots of really neat books too. They did
Something
a
to do with my
great job.
grandkids.
Absolutely.
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. I
It's really
want the-
Yeah, they did not toot their
Community can do
horn
that.
on that.
No, I was just blown away, like I could not believe all of these books up there were just for these kids in the community, how exciting that was. So that was really cool. And
And
then
$6,000 is a lot.
it's a lot.
Yes, it is, when you sell.
And they were good
Yeah.
books, like they were books that are like really out there on the market right now, so the kids will really have a good time picking and choosing what they want. Lots
There
of
you go, Ron.
baby
something to
board
do.
books and pre.
I'm gonna take a visit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you better take the girls,
It'll be
yeah.
worth it.
Lorraine, is that there now?
Yes, so they
It's
open
available?
tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow
Go
through Saturday.
Tomorrow through Saturday, yeah, with their regular hours, you just go straight upstairs and it's
Okay.
like a store in there, it looks amazing.
Okay.
They haven't had anything on the radio either.
No, she just told me, she's like, I need to get in touch with you, so I'll contact her tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well,
They
time
were
is of the
really
essence
thinking
if it
that
starts
2 books,
tomorrow.
and I think they moved it to 3, because last year, they didn't have any left over, but they ordered so many more this year, and it's a full package of books, it's really cool. Yeah. Awesome, and then, I just wanted to ask about the filing for commissioners, I know we are gonna have a lot of, so if people do not file by the deadline, which was pushed up, then the commission would appoint by
We'd have to
interview,
go-
or how does that work?
I'm pretty sure that's what would happen, we would go through the appointment process.
To
What is
fill
the
the commission?
appointment process?
Well, we would have to advertise for each of those, and then I'd collect everything. It would be like when Commissioner Robertson came on, Commissioner Day too. And you guys come up with your questions, and we go through that whole process.
For every open
It would be for every open seat, correct?
When is the filing?
The 11th,
Moved it up to the 11th.
11th of June.
Has anyone put their name in? Is that a question?
Not that I'm
Yes.
aware of at this time.
no, Janelle told me yesterday that no filing. Lori and I sent you an email. You guys are more than welcome as commissioners to come on live. I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for you guys to come in and share. Say this is what my passion is for it, what it does, why I filed, whatever. Just to kind of help maybe educate from you guys' standpoint of running for commissioner.
June 11th is the filing date?
That's the last day you can file. They moved it up like 5 days.
I did file today, so.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
I'm sure I'll have competition with somebody.
So we'll have Ward 3 covered then.
Well, we'll see. At least there's one candidate. Let's hope there are more.
Come on, Ward 2, come on, Ward 1.
Commissioner, can I have just one more minute? Since
Absolutely.
we have Chief Janice here, and not to put you on the spot by any means, but, just to kind of give a heads up to the commission that something that I've been working on my own, haven't talked to Holly about. As many of you know, my wife is a volunteer with the Labyrinth down in Frank Bay Park, and there's been, over the years, a random vandalism in that park. It appears that there's a lot more of it the last 6 months. And as of yesterday, she brought me evidence that somebody worked really hard, and this is not a minor thing, they worked really hard to steal one of the signs off of one of the gates. To the point of gluing pieces to another piece with something that would allow them to unscrew and steal things.
Huh.
So there is a security camera there right now, one security camera that's monitored only by Lee. And she's done next to nothing with it, it's not high enough quality, but if it continues, I'll come to the commission and ask that there be some kind of security camera system put in that park, because I know that the
Ice House was.
Ice House has been vandalized twice or 3 times, we got a pool there, You got the labyrinth, which gets torn up and kids ride the gates and do all kinds of things, and adults that leave things open, and it just is getting to the point where we have a really neat asset there that's getting abused. And they-
So the new system will have, if the new facility will have security cameras. Definitely report any of that
Yeah.
suspicious activity to the police. They've got a network of folks with Ring cameras, and I think they've caught some vandals and have, tried to nip that too.
And in the past, it's been, according to the camera that is down there right now, it's the local kids just bored stiff, walking around the park. But as of yesterday, it's not just the local kids, somebody's, working to take an asset
Yeah.
down there.
So Holly, when we discussed that with Park and Rec, it's been mostly up at the snack shack and in the facilities area, but will that cover, would those cameras cover out to the labyrinth?
It'll extend off the outside of the park, so depending on where they're coming from, you might capture some of that.
So I wonder if we could look at, in our Park and Rec meeting, doing something to include that area more as a whole?
The stuff that Kelly's looking at for the temporary could be utilized for that.
Whatever you do, it needs to be HDR with night vision capability.
Yeah. That's right, it's expensive,
Drops
it takes
knowledge.
power, and
You just do daytime only, all you see is a black figure at night. That's when 95% of it happens at night.
It sounds like premeditated, like based off of what you're.
And with school
yeah,
just getting out,
somebody had a mission to go get something.
with school just getting out, our city property vandalism is going to skyrocket again. It just does every summer.
So the cemetery should be ready for the stones to be tipped over.
Everything.
And part of it is you can just see, the pool closes, kids go out like that, and they stop by there, and let's go play over there for a while.
Well, maybe once the pool opens, in the sense that there's just more people there. I mean, I know it's not through the night, but
What day is the official opening?
Saturday.
I don't know, I drove by the park on Saturday or Sunday, I couldn't believe the amount of people
Something
that
was
were.
going on. It was.
There was like a lot going on, there must have been like 3 or 4 different things going on.
Had their volunteer days, the park's just already very busy. I thought the same thing last week.
Good weather earlier than now.
I've been in a little park.
It's a great park, we need to keep it that way.
It's sad, I did, see on too that like vehicles had been broken into, there was a thing from the Police Protective Association.
Yeah, so that's when you have to close out.
Yeah, and you said something about just lock your vehicles and be diligent.
Yeah, I think between Wheatland, Judith Basin, Golden Valley, there's a dozen vehicles broken into, 2 of them stolen, I think 6 firearms stolen.
Wow.
In one night.
So they're looking for firearms and stuff like that.
Any in
other-
Fergus County?
Any other questions for Officer Jennings or anything for the good of the
Thanks for
order?
being here.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah, good job. Okay, awesome, great meeting, thank you so much, have a good night, we're adjourned.
Thank you. Do you know what I